Everybody's Patrick of the Pitch Deck. We are here with round 5 with AB3 kayo. So we're going to go ahead and pause frame here so we can analyze what happened. I had it a little bit late for the start. He discarded an agile windup indicated here, and he made an agility token and a might token on the right side. And then he passed turn. I shot him for 1 damage. Well, it chipped 1 damage, but it was for 4 for this blue bolt here. And now we are going into my turn with a red spindle coming in for 4 with a blue and a red. Now he has the decision to go ahead and give us full value out of this. We'll hopefully strip 1 card so the agility is less useful. Might is always okay to get for maybe a CNC and you can still make use of it. Maybe claw if you've got the resources afterwards with 2 cards in hand. So he can still go with 2 blues if he's got a blue heavy hand. So with spindle, it's one of those things where you have to make sure that spindles can be very dangerous. It can fix a lot of different things on the top of your deck, especially if potions are out in play. You can get some pretty nutty stuff. So here he's just going to do AB3. And it is a swing big, but he's used to just discarding it, so it's fine. I'm only seeing it now whenever I was seeing the replay, so unfortunate that it was discarded instead. But we will shoot and punish for a little bit more since he only wants to AB3. And this is kind of why you have, if you have a yellow and a blue plus a red that you want to arsenal, just go ahead and use the yellow so you can have a very nice curve into your resources for maybe a potion or a home or blazing. That'd be nice as well, like we did before. So we have wildfire and arsenal with 2 blues, wildfire in hand plus lesson. We could change over to like a lesson line, but then you have to guarantee there's a blue on top, and even then that's a little rocky into AB3 this early.
This effect can happen.
So the effect for Bare Fangs is coming in. And he popped the hardened cross strap, so this one's coming in for a reduced cost, which if he AP'd 1 plus this, that means he's probably got all red hand. So he does have the effect to go through, but he does have agility on board. We can probably look to do a wildfire here, like a wildfire burn off the top, but there is a very big chance we don't get anything good to go with the double wildfire combo ender, so we'd have to blind flip off the top and then see what was going on for the combo ender. So him being at 33, we're gonna definitely take this. We're happy to take this down to 21, and he being at 33, especially since we're seeing a lot of signs of heavy red hands.
If you had hit any 5 in that on the cast bone, I would have lost my mind. I'm so happy. Yep.
This is coming in for 7.
One card left.
Yes.
And I think I make a small misplay here. Kind of like use my life as a resource, which I should have done. And I'm analyzing probably every option that can be available to me. I think I should have went with just blocking wildfire since I have wildfire in my hand, or sorry, in my arsenal. If I got wildfire in my hand, it's a little bit awkward for pitching resources, and it can just use to be preserving life, because then I'd be down to 14. Yeah, being at 21, if I take the full 7 down to 14, but here I can just block 3 instead and go down to 17. I double block because I can just send this lesson in, which probably isn't great because then you can AB1 and then shoot. He lets me get a 1 cost. I can shoot another lesson, which then double blue. He has to give me double blue at that point. Sometimes the resources aren't flowing for KO decks all the time, so they can't afford double blues at every point. Double blues and we'd be happy, but if we had the extra blue in his hand and lets this go, then we can punish with a blazing for an extra 4 damage, having 8 damage on his for this turn. But he lets the 1 damage go through, and then if we had the blue, we can just search the lesson, which is probably just more efficiency this way. Use our life as a resource. And being on 32 and being on 20 is pretty good, but I wouldn't mind going slightly lower for better play on my turn. We go ahead to go in, hopefully, with a pretty nice turn on our hand, and we get met with another red. I'm very hesitant usually to go with another lesson line if I see a red. You can always pivot. That's what's so great about lesson. Whatever the red is, you can pivot to that being your combo choice, meaning that this would be a spindle combo. So this is another Bear Fangs coming in, pitching a Sin Packing, I think. So that means he might be a little bit low on his resources here. And he has a trigger on the stack with the Beast Within. Now, there's a lot of things we can do. The Beast Within would come and give him another card. He has another card in his hand. Sin Packing is 3 cost, means he doesn't have another blue in his hand. With the pitching order, meaning blue, yellow, yellow, blue, yellow, red, things like that. He goes down with his blue count or his pitch count rather than up. Some people do that. It's a little weird. They may put their threats in the arsenal, play it out from arsenal rather than in their hand. And then they just pitch the reds, kind of like sandbags, the higher end of the resources, like blues and stuff. And it's a little bit of a pattern that Yuki plays with. Sandbagging reds that she may not want to play and just play out of arsenal for 2 card attacks. So we're thinking if this could potentially be a spindle. We saw 1 blazing down. So we have 2 more blazings, and it's not an agility token, so we'll just be taking 9, and we could probably survive a reset turn if there is not an agile windup that he gets in his hand when we go to our turn. Nothing to do and pass back. It would have to be a double attack if we did it, so we allowed it to go through. Not worth the chance right now, I think. So it's just coming in for 9. And then here we block 6, take 3. Which is fine, I think. We could probably say that we could use the extra blue as well. But no fear that people bring in is probably better. To just do this because the value of the no fear goes up a little bit. If you block in and then they no fear and then you've got 1 card in your hand that you can't really do anything, no fear works really, really, really good on full grip hands. When it means like, oh, I can send the spindle and I didn't block 9 last turn. If you no fear here, I can let it resolve, but then the spindle, before it resolves, I can go off the top, shoot something, cover the no fear, and then I get to see exactly what's going on next turn. So he has the Beast Within that we saw, those 2 blues. We see a pretty okay hand, but when it comes to the life total that he's at, we can't kill with a blazing because it's usually 33 on the damaging turn, and we would see this coming in for 4. We bait it out. He tosses out an agile windup, which is pretty good. It's in 4 free damage. And then he passes back, meaning that he's just got AB3 in his hand. This entire time, I don't know exactly what's in his arsenal. No fear wouldn't really matter or be like too prevalent. It's still like AB2 from Arsenal at that point. So there is a thing to consider for No Fear just being a neg 2, not banishing anything. Then you have Wildfire going down to AB5 basically, and that's not worth it. So with the AB3 on Wildfire, 15 points of damage would go away. And being at equal life parity, it's not very good. We've got 3 blues, one of them being I. We can use our action point as Blazing if we find something pretty good. And then maybe get a wide enough opening to send combo next turn.
I'm gonna Kano with I.
We got Lesson here, which is really good, but I mess up this little area. I left it up to RNG to help me out, and I'll point it out to you whenever we get to it. So we go with this here, shoot it for 4. Then he'll have to respect this one with 2 cards and 1 floating. And he does respect it, giving 1 damage, but the search target was wrong. I'm leaving it up to chance on Tome rather than player. Since I have a Blazing in my hand, he has to give me 1 more blue, or 3 resources in general. Definitely a misplay on my part. Definitely go for the higher damaging line, which is Flare. So even if he does give the blue or the Flare, or 3 resources, then we would be okay with just IPing ourselves at least 1 card, which is the Blazing. We get a Sonic Boom, and we still have our action point since that was off the top. So we could probably still Kano off the top, but I see a AZ Ages here, and opting to, we see Wildfire on top. We have that to be our Sonic Boom target, and this is where I kind of mess up a little bit here because I didn't choose the right target or lesson. So now he can AB3, and we're kind of stuck with the Blazing being like an empty pitch card. Like we have to pitch it for no reason. So we should have just pitched the Blazing and then have a spare blue guaranteed blue in our hand, and we can just pass an IP on the blue rather than pitching our entire hand here.
Kano with the 2 floating and Blazing. Keep it on top.
So we go with a potential play of Wildfire next turn. And we could have gotten a little bit more chip next turn. But it is just min-maxing the efficiencies of your spells. So we have AB1 here because he has 1 floating, and then the card in Arsenal, which means if it's Wildfire, we have to see what's on top, and it is coming in for 7. So we have nothing to go on here. For our turn, if we block 9, protect the Wildfire. We could just let the Wildfire die, but then we'd be at a really rough spot, life total wise. And this is as good of a spot as any. So we go with the boots and lets it go. We see a 0 cost, which is really good, along with blue on top. Let's hope.
Kano.
And then we see
Let it resolve.
red on top. But we double think. We went too quick with the wildfire, and we want to make sure that we can use effectively our resources. So with 2 and 2 instead being 3 and 1, that's better by missing by about 2 damage. So 2 damage is better on that than wildfire for 4, wildfire for 4, things like that. So we can pump the first one for 5. The wildfire, that's going to be an arsenal for 5. And then the player will come in for 4 plus 3, which is 7. And then the dart will come in for 12.
Pitch, rake, goes up 1, and I'm going to go all the way down. Okay. So 3 babies. 1, 2, 3. 2 floating.
So we got to just do all the quick math of resource for damage.
That's fine. Yeah, no worries. I'll put this on top and then let the rag banish it.
So we already got boots broken here. Going up to 3 resources.
Three.
Mind if I take a look forehand? Go for it,
None. Because this just procs response to this.
We make sure, just to make sure, Metacarpus is on the stack. We don't know if there's no fear in Arsenal. We just give him the priority just to make sure. Always be in the habit of doing that before you pay, so it changes the decision. So we're not gonna pay, but he doesn't know that. So we'll say no pay. Comes in for 5.
No pay. No pay. Yeah.
Takes 4.
No resources floating. No.
This is going to be 7.
7.
So 19
Now this one be 7, and then 11 plus 1 for 12.
plus 4 is 12.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So I got 7.
Yeah.
Bringing him down to 7. And then we take 9.
And then you take 7. Yep. I'll go back up the end of my turn. And then trigger.
So it is a bit of a rough spot. He can just swing lethal with 1 card, which then, if there is no agility to be backed up,
It's live.
um,
Exactly that. Yeah. Because no point wasting.
then we should be fine because we can just double block and then go into our turn. Which, at that point, we need a reset turn, which we have 4 blues if we needed to go off, which is good. However, a reset turn needs to be damage. We need damage. Damage to bring the life totals back down, his life total back down. So we see a blood rush, which is not good at all when it comes to reset turns.
Even and odd. So this
So vanishes or discards. I think it was a blue. So a blue smash instinct,
I'm thinking on
which
here.
is
Draw.
good on our resources, but he had pitched a cast bones, which is fine usually because you don't want that to be part of the miss. So you would not gain go again and draw 2 cards, which will just kill your turn. So we're gonna say something that doesn't block, and we see a blue spindle. So we're gonna go ahead and shoot this for 3.
Playing this. 2 cards in hand. This is.
Because then maybe the top of the opt here is going to be more impactful. And then if he doesn't have a blue or whatever, he can use it for his turn, which he does have the blue. And we got lucky that he had 2 blues. So we can just go ahead and strip that out of the way. And then he might be a little bit less impactful for the turn, which would have been pretty much death. 5 and then 8 at that point. Which we would be like 9 block versus with 6, so it's 15. So we're not dead, but we have to block, set the potion, then you can just swing for lethal and hold up cards, so it's pretty bad. I think we might have saved ourselves the reset turn by doing this. And then just bank on the fact that maybe because a blue was pitched and blue was discarded, that we would have enough of room for him not to gain. Maybe 2 reds. Let's hope 2 reds type of thing. Now we're up to 12 life with 6 block and 6 life.
I'm gonna pitch Mage Masters and Nash.
So this is just claw for 5. Where we would go down to 1. And let's let him have it. We can't do anything for like 7 damage with 1 spell type of thing. We would have to be like tome, like just get really, really lucky basically. And he did find the blue, but whatever he found plus in his arsenal is not too great. Because then we can just take this and see if he can commit to lethal because we're at 1. And if it's a 6 attack, then yeah, we just got because it really is unfortunate that our turn was not bringing him down to 1 because it was a red on top. If it was a blue, then it would be bringing him down to 1.
And then the other one.
16. You're passing, you said?
And then he passes turn, which is like almost a sigh of relief. We can kind of do something here for a reset on 2 blues. Let's hope for something powerful off the top. And like that's what I'm trying to say is that the reset. Thank goodness that I did do that because he would have a spare blue plus the blue in his hand, and then he could go auto claw plus whatever's in his arsenal, so or whatever is in his hand as well. Like 2 attacks at that point, which is not really good. We have to Kano off the top to see what's going to impact our decision here. Gotta check the graveyard to see our options that could come up because there are some ratios that you can probably think, okay, maybe the spindles aren't going to come up. What's worth it here? So we're going to just go ahead and pitch Kano. You see a prog. Go ahead and shoot that. I don't crew this because I can either put the arc in my arsenal or might be a better play to find a potion maybe. But he goes ahead and AB1s with sin packing 1 floating. So sin packing would be something that we can think on. So CNC here. It's not prevalent, but we're at 1, so we have to block. And he doesn't actually get a might token. You didn't discard, which is good. Here we can probably just say, give me another card type of thing. We're not getting what we want off the top. We're not getting what we want in our hands. Even if we wanted something in our hand, we would have to block with it. We're just going to try to pocket this Alma Findall, which would have been there. We would have just said, give me a card type of thing. Yeah, so there's a lot of min-maxing that Ether Arc could have been used for a potion if there was something off the top. We need a better high roll opportunity. Try to find a potion. We see Bear Fangs coming in. It's just for 9, but it allows him to get a might token.
Even and odd.
We do get a blue,
Trigger resolves.
Still on the bottom of my deck.
Yep.
and that would be 1 floating plus what's in arsenal. So the longer the game goes on, the more that we're not suspecting that it's no fear. He would have done it on the combo turn. So we're looking at our hand here with 2 blues, a yellow spindle plus a red, and it gets us by the ropes. This is what I'm trying to talk about, where we need to strip cards, but he can just 1 card lethal us. So it has to be something on our turn. We can try to accomplish that. Gaining a little bit of life. 2 cards, go back up to 3. So let's hope. And 2 blues, which is good, which means we should be seeing some. Now this is where I mess up here. I think I need to go again for a Kano rather than do this, because I need to get over his AB, which would then be buff. And then I would have seen another tome. Someone pointed that out to me. Don't be so quick to use your tomes for draws, even though that's usually the best method. I would have seen double tome there, and that would probably be my way to get back in. It was tight. Like, this is definitely some tight gameplay that you got to recognize, but if higher AB opponents don't let your small attacks go through, you need to push with a big attack or small attack that's buffed major. So we would have seen this quickening, which is a blue, plus the blue that's in our hand, plus 1 floating, right? You would have seen, I don't know what's off the top here. I think now we're just struggling a little bit here. I think I should have Kano'd again. With how my play was, I think I should have just Kano'd again. There's no way that I knew that anything would be coming through. I can say, oh, maybe I can get some more life again. We would have seen this dart, which is fine, because it's still maybe chip damage at least a little bit. We see pulping, and it's not that great, because now we're kind of struggling here. We would have maybe shot him for 1, another one with the regular Kano here. But there's an off chance, very, very small off chance, that he drew into a non-6. But we did not. It was another pulping. So the pulpings are kind of close, so we have to go because it's dominated. Basically, that was probably the way that we would have won, is if we stripped another card with buff, went harder on our turn. But we are down 1 resource. Instead of a blue, we're exchanging it for 2 resources. That's not great. Ether Arc doesn't do it, and it is looking pretty grim. I think that was probably the turning point, was buff on the Tome of Aetherwind. So I gotta be a little bit not as quick. I gotta be a little bit more careful on my decisions when it comes to that. So there's not much that we can do here, just hope for tomes, but we see a whole bunch of tomes at the beginning, so there would be a godsend if we had a tome, but we can't. Unfortunately, the Tome of Aetherwind that we had before would have been helpful to get in and get some massive chip damage, but unfortunately we did not. And as fate may have it, we had the red off of Ragamuffin's hat, not bringing them down to 1 HP, which would have been nice to help close out the game earlier. Yep, so the writing's on the wall, and we lose. Pulping coming in for the wind, and we just do not have enough damage to get over 7.
1 damage.
Definitely could have made some tight tighter plays in terms of efficiency, but good game for Gary, and I lost. GG's, on to the next.